Good afternoon, I'm Draken and this is the DrakenWerks, and we are back where we started, well, where we finished at the end of the last episode. And you can see this is the area around the back of the DrakenSpire where we had all this mountainous terrain that was here. So this you would have probably saw at the end of our last video, and it was one of the things that we were talking about. This is something we could have done with our week off, is maybe sort this area out. I mean, we were talking about doing other bits over the other side of the base, but then realised that, yeah, this area is going to be a big project. And if I've got a week off, I might as well do some work down in this area here. So I got out my axes and got the beacons down there, and we started chomping through the mountains here. And it is a bit of an underestimation to say, when we get to the end of all this, it doesn't look like there's a lot done because it's just one big flat terrain. But you saw at the beginning there how mountainous that terrain was. So to actually pull all of that terrain down and actually rip it all to shreds and everything else was actually, it took me about 2 days solid of literally just digging through and digging up the earth and everything else. Gave us a ton of resources though, which was quite handy. So we can use that for our building construction. But yeah, 2 days just working purely on pulling that all down. And this is what it looks like now. So we now have this lovely flat terrain out the back here. You can still see the green bit where we had planned around to put the walls here. So the idea is this area is going to become like our gardens for the DrakenSpire. At the end here we might put a little bit of a dockyard in eventually, but that area is going to be like our gardens. We're going to turn around and put some nice sort of trees and stuff in there. And I was hoping to get it done this week, the gardens itself, but there was something else that needed to be done first before I could do the gardens, and unfortunately didn't get the time to do the gardens itself. Something that I underestimated how long it would actually take for me to actually do it. So we'll see that in a minute. I'll show you a time lapse of that. But there was other bits to be done as well. We needed to fill in down here the foundation to the actual DrakenSpire itself. You can see the portal's now much more open as well. It's just peeking over the top there. If we fly back up, you'll probably see it again in a second. And this beacon we had to move around a few times in order to actually just get everything dug out. But you can see the grass is growing back just in the corner here. But yeah, I mean, there's the portal. And you've got it's much more open now. We haven't got all this mountainous terrain coming over the side here. And this whole gardens, the idea is, I mean, most of it's flat, but you have another level slightly higher up as we go towards it over the far side. And that actually backs onto the town. So we're going to build like a little fence wall in there as well somewhere that's going to turn around and connect over. But you can, it now sort of makes the DrakenSpire, I feel, just pop that much more because it's now much more clear around here. It's going to be the sort of gardens instead of having all these mountains that are blocking it up at the moment that you can see in the back there. But there's still work to be done on the DrakenSpire itself. We've still got the tower to finish off at the front there. We've got to do some connections inside. But it's one of those things that we're now getting to the point now where the inner city, and this is just the inner city, is starting to get to the point where I should really start making a list and start deciding, right, okay, I need to do this bit, I need to do this bit, I need to finish the tower off, I need to add this over here, we need to do the gardens over here, and start making a list of what needs to be done to get the inner city finished off. Because I'd like to get the inner city properly completed before we start work properly on the outer city, which is the next step that we'll be doing over sort of the next 6 months. I'm probably about a month behind schedule because I had to take a little bit of time out, but yeah, we are getting somewhere closer to there. But as you can see, we can come over here. This is where we're going to build that wall I was talking about that blocks up towards the main city. We've got the residential districts and everything else there. Obviously we've got there the old gunpowder farm, but let's go do a time lapse. And okay, so after that time lapse there, you can see that what took up most of our time this week was building the walls and the towers that go around the whole outside there. Now, we'd already built some here and there in between episodes in previous months and everything else around the outside of the town, but we needed to do the ones that stretched all the way around the garden itself. So that's what we've been working on this week, is just building up these walls and towers. But I decided, I was looking at these, I mean, we've got these generic design, you can see that landing here, this is sort of the generic design that I came up with for these towers. But I thought, we've got about 14 towers down here. Well, actually, at the moment, there's about 12 towers here, but there's actually 14 towers that are going to be there in total. And I didn't want to just have 12 or 14 generically the same towers. We wanted just a bunch of different towers, all looking slightly different, going along the whole thing there, so that each one had its own sort of little characteristics. So I thought I'd spend the week doing a bit of work on those sort of things here. And having done that now, we can actually come down here and I can actually show you the work that's actually been done here. So a minute ago, we were just showing you a minute ago what it was like before we'd done the extra work. But we've also done some work underneath, and that wasn't on the time lapse because it was probably a bit boring because I was digging tunnels underneath and everything else like this. But this whole wall section now is actually fully connected. So even though from the surface it may not look like I've done a lot to the town, there's a lot that's behind the surface here. So we've got this end tower here. This is the first tower. This is going to be a gun tower. So you can see we've got a number of cannons there pointing out to port. They're not pointing towards the city, they're pointing towards port because they're there to defend the port itself. And we have one of those on either end of this complex. And then as we come down the wall here, you can see what we were working on last week with all the housings on the right there. That's the roofs there. And you can see the museum up ahead as well. We're still going to do some sort of detailing work inside the sort of the triangle of the roof there as well at some point. You can spot that there. This isn't completed down here as well. We've got some interior work to do as well. And you can see there's a little bit probably on the wall of this one. This tower here needs to be done a little bit. And as you come inside, you can see some of the walls are a bit plain. So I'll probably put some texture in there. I might also put some banners up and some sort of armor stands around and everything as well. And as you can see as we go through here, because it's such a big build, there's always bits that you're going to miss. Like you can see here, it's like I looked at this and went, oh, hang on a minute, there's a block in completely the wrong place. Let's go and get that sorted out. So we sorted it out. So I was in the middle of recording my tour for everyone and put the blocks into where they needed to be before we carry on with the rest of the tour. But yeah, we have all these like little corridors that sort of nip in and out everywhere along the different layers of the walls so that you can easily get between different parts of the wall structure itself. And we come up here, we've got what I call the double towers. There's two of these where they have like this bridge coming out the front of the main wall section. So separated from the rest of the wall fortifications, there is another tower. And these towers are sort of overlooking where there's going to be like gatehouses and entrances in, so it's sort of kind of defensive to that. We've got a tower at the I've got a flag at the top of the tower here. Too many towers on the brains everywhere. But we've got this flag up there, obviously our Empire's flag sitting there, and as you can see from the side of the wall here, you look down to where one of the roads comes out, and we're going to have a gatehouse there. Obviously, it only stops as far as the wall at the moment until we start building the outer city, and it all connects through. But this tower will overlook that. If we come then back over to the bridge again itself, that sort of stretches over the side here, we can go and have a look at the rest of the towers. So we've covered 3 towers so far. This is 3 out of the 14. And we've got different sort of types of stairwells coming up into different parts. Like we've got this. Again, I was trying to sort of make sure each tower has a little bit different, even though they've got that similarity of there is also a little bit of difference between them. Some have stairs going down, like this one has here. It's got the stairs going down here that enables us to connect to the actual underneath parts of the battlement. And then we've also got stairs going up to the main part. Others will have ladders going up. But each tower also has a different sort of function to it as well. So some of those we've looked at so far. The only one that's really been majorly different is the cannon tower. This one we're coming up to again as well. This is going to be pretty much an ordinary standard tower here as well. It's slightly different in levels here. So we've got steps coming up into here and again connects down into the underneath as well. But the tower that comes after this, we're going to walk underneath it. We'll look back on it in a second. But you can see this leads all the way down to here. Actually, before we get to the next tower, we'll talk about this bit first. Remembering where I had done all my tour videos, this bit is one of the bits that connects actually down into the city. So this is how we get onto the walls, is through this bit. And you can see it brings us right out by the fungus blasting farm there and behind the generators for the cobblestone and everything. But if we come back up onto the main walls itself, into its section, we will head back through here. And I thought I'll take a walk down underneath the battlements here on the other side where we've got like the walkways underneath to show that these have all been done as well. These are all properly connected all the way around. And the tower we're about to walk under at the moment is the one tower which I haven't actually finished the exterior to. And that is going to be our Wizard's Tower. So this is going to be a much taller tower. This is going to be our second Wizard's Tower because we've already got one that you've seen with the crystals that sit in the middle of the city. This will be a second Wizard's Tower that's attached as part of the battlements. And we're going to build that one up. But it hasn't been completed yet. I've only done the initial framework for that one, so that's the only tower I didn't manage to get to that far with. But as we come around here, we do get to come up these stairs here, and we come into the tower just after that one, and this bit here has got a couple of little water elevators, and the idea of this tower is that these are going to be, like we have a couple of little towers around the town dotted around for little airships and small trading airships to dock up to. These ones will have the same sort of purpose. We've got 2 of these. There's another one there we can see just off in the distance that we can dock the smaller sort of style airships up so we can bring some trade into the walls directly. And probably what I'll do is I want to do some tutorial videos on how to build some of the smaller airships, so we'll probably cover the Ira class off, and we'll probably cover off the Lightwing class and everything else, and we'll do some tutorials of of that, and I'll actually do the tutorials here on the actual server itself, so we'll actually use the server itself. And this is the wizard tower I was talking about there, just quickly showing off. We got the foundations work. As you see, we've begun on it, but we've still got some more work to do on that one. Then we come to these ones. These towers went for a couple of different design ideas. I tried putting like a pointed hat on the top of it, a pointed roof on the top of the actual tower itself, but that didn't seem to work. But then I came up with this idea for like a double sort of battlement section, and I actually quite like the look of these ones. There's something a bit different to the rest of the designs. These are either side of the second gatehouse that comes out there, so you can see the road comes through there. That's going to connect into the inner city as well. One of them has a flag, one of them doesn't, so they've still got a little bit different character to each of them as well, so they're not exactly the same. But again, they've got that slight little difference as we come across the walls. And as I say, we'll pass on to those ones, and then we'll move towards what is another double tower towards the front here. And this is where we start getting a lot of our repeats here. So we've got the double tower here at the front, just over here. This one extends a bit further out the front there, but it also sort of runs parallel. So we've always got these 4 towers in a square here that you'll see. This one doesn't have the stairs connecting up to it like the other one does, but this instead uses the ladder up to here. And then, as you can see, we've got the bridge then that connects over here, just over the front and over to these towers. And I can imagine like the moats would be like this. I'm going to build the moat around here. You can see part of the moat goes around the outside of the town, and you sometimes catch it on the other side of the wall. But we'll probably extend the moat underneath these, and then these are like stuck out in the middle of town, creating sort of these more defendable positions. But it's a brilliant view here, straight from here, straight back to the base. You can see like the whole of the DrakenSpire just silhouetted in the background there, with all the airships floating around it and everything else, and the town off to the right there. And then we're going to have the gardens off to the left when we finally get around to building those. That's something I'll probably do next week, hopefully. I was hoping to get it done this week, because those gardens was something that's going to be something that's quite a bit of interest and a very creative sort of approach. But then I just decided I'd try and make these towers a bit more creative as well, because otherwise they were just going to be the same things over and over again. It was going to get a little bit bland. But I think we did an alright job on this one. We did an alright job on this one. And you can see here's the other air tower as well down here. So this is where we'd also bring in some more cargoes. We'll probably build the other airship coming off here. And then we've got a normal tower just here on the corner. It seems quite bland now when you look at the normal towers compared to some of the other more interesting ones. And then we've got 2 more towers to go down here. So if we come down this side of front of the gardens, we'll be able to see, yeah, we've got the flag there. Sitting there, the 3rd flag that we built over the top of the towers. And again, this view from the battlements of the actual DrakenSpire directly head on. And once we get past this tower, this one turns around, connects downwards as well. I believe at the bottom of this tower there is actually a connection out to go into the gardens, so that you've got 2 points of entry to get onto the walls. So not a lot, but you wouldn't normally have a lot of points of entry to get onto walls, defendable walls in most cities, because you would want to be able to funnel all the attackers into short spaces so that you can actually then turn around and ambush them and defeat them much easier. That's the idea, concept of most design fortifications, is to use as little numbers of people as possible to defeat bigger armies and stuff like that, and part of the way you do that is you funnel them into small gaps. But yeah, we come down the tower here, we come to the final point, which is the final tower here, which is another, like we had at the beginning, another cannon tower. It's got the cannons pointing off in towards the into the bay there itself. They're sort of pointing towards where the airship tower is over there as well. So, but you can see all the airships sort of docked up here, and it's lovely views. We can see all of those. We can see them docked up, and we can even see underneath the archway there, and see the Demelza classes just sat out the front of the actual DrakenSpire there. That was hard to decide what's now the front and the back of the DrakenSpire. Technically, that side is the back, and this side is the front, I suppose, because the rest of the city's at this end. But because of the way I built the base, it always feels like the other side is the front of the base. So I suppose it's a matter of perspective in some senses. But we come up here as the sun is starting to settle, and you can see the light is going down. We can look back at where we want to build the gardens, which I might do for the next week or 2. We'll see over that. We'll cover over that one there. But I'm also planning on putting some dockyards around the bottom here as well, so that we can probably have some private ships sort of sat up there as well. So that'll give me some opportunities to build some more ships. Built no airships this week. I built no ships at all this week, which is got to be a first for many a week. But it's just been working on these fortifications. They've just taken up so much time. And I look back at it and I sort of think, it doesn't look like a lot. But then when you look at the way we started off with the mountains and everything else like that, I think we did a massive job on this. This has taken so long to get through all of that this week that I needed the week off just to do that. And it is quite a difference, actually, when we look at it from this angle and we see where we're standing here. But don't forget to check out, guys, down below. We got in the description all of the rest of the Unorthoblocks members. So go and check out their channels. They do some brilliant work there. And we will catch you all again soon, hopefully. I've been Drakens, the DrakenGameWerks. Don't forget to sign up onto the fan Discord. And you guys have all been absolutely awesome. I hope you have a wonderful new year, and we'll catch you all again soon. Take it easy. Bye.